The biggest thing I want to say to you guys is just because that's the highest rate in your area doesn't mean it's worth it. Is Amazon Flex finally paying again? Well, we're going to find out because today I have a block for $97.50. Now, these routes are super hit or miss, I want to tell you guys. They're either a lot of stops or they're less stops and they're very far, or they're a lot of stops and they're more worth it to me. I say that because when you have a lot of stops, that means you're going to be more in the city area. You're going to knock them out and get it done. There are other times, though, where they're going to send you 40 to 45 miles away for your first stop and you have 2 or 3 stops maybe, but you're still going to drive over 100 miles. I haven't had much luck with Amazon Flex recently, so I haven't been doing it. I just don't see the money in it. I've been seeing maybe $26 an hour, $28 an hour. I did end up seeing 5-hour blocks for $130, but I honestly don't think those are worth it as well. I've been seeing on my local Facebook group that people have been taking them, but they've been sending them very far away. When you first get to an Amazon Flex sub same day warehouse, what you're going to need to do is first take your identity picture, which is taking a picture on the app after you said you have arrived at the warehouse. After you end up taking your picture, what you're going to do is go inside and there's going to be kiosks where you need to scan your license. You end up scanning your license, your phone should change, and sometimes it's going to show you a waiting message, meaning it's waiting to assign a cart to you. There are some great days where you end up waiting 27 to 28 minutes and then you're free to go and you'll get paid fully for the route. Now, on the other 99% of days, what's going to happen is you're going to get a screen that comes up which shows the station number where you're going to have to find where your cart is at. In my case, my station number was 430. So you can use the signs that are hanging from the ceiling or you could use the ground and you could see those little QR codes show a number. So you're going to find your cart and be aware as well that sometimes the cart, you're going to have to do some digging for it because these warehouses are very chaotic. Once you scan that label, it's going to identify that that is your cart. You're going to get that green check mark, not that red X. I always encourage people to number their packages. That would be scanning that same exact QR code that you did to then scan each of them. It'll help you, especially at these night routes or these early morning routes, because like I always say, it's better to be safe. You want to make sure to be in and out of these places as fast as possible. Okay, that was something, I guess we could say. We're definitely going pretty far. Not very happy about that. I thought it was going to be a decent route because it's like 9 stops, I want to say. But I think the stops are pretty far apart. I'm going to show it on the screen right now for you, but you could see it. I mean, 25 minutes, 15 miles to the first stop. I definitely think there's going to be at least 5 miles between each stop. We're definitely going to be like 45 minutes away from home for sure. We're going to get to the first stop at 7:33. This route, I only had 9 stops, so there wasn't much organizing to do. Everything fit in the front seat with me. My route, though, ended up taking a turn for the worst. This route was one of the worst routes I've ever done. It was in the middle of absolute nowhere. Each of these stops where I thought 5 miles between them, judging from the map, they were definitely not. They were anywhere from 15 to 19 minutes per stop in between the stops. Now that number also, you have to add on the time of each of these driveways being a gravel road going 1 mile off of the main road, and there's no lights. Many times that you have to make sure that you're at the right house. Also that the pins are typically messed up on these deliveries, meaning the last driver put it at a location where it wasn't supposed to go. We're on our way to the next stop, second stop, which is going to be 19 minutes away, 11 miles out. Shows there's a house here. There's no house. There's nothing here. Just in the middle of nowhere in the woods. What the hell? I know it's spooky. Beware that people are going to have their dogs out. Be very careful. Always stay alert. Point your headlights where you're going to be walking, which is typically to the front door. Point it over there so as well people are going to be able to see these big blue vests and they're going to know that you're Amazon and not some random guy looking for a hamburger or something. This route has been the reason why I have been avoiding Amazon lately, and it's because the amount of miles that they're making you rack up on these routes is crazy. And many people I know, they think of just returning the carts or returning packages and they shouldn't have to do that. And I mean, I get that. But this is the job I signed up for, right? I took this block. I want to finish it out. I don't want to return stuff. I mean, I'm here to do the deliveries. I like doing the deliveries as well. I love recording them too. At the same time, though, I like to be transparent with you guys and just to say that these routes have not been worth it. And I urge you guys to pick your routes wisely. I know there's many times that the routes, they might not surge up to make sure that you're getting the correct pay. But I do encourage every single person, do not take the base rate. I mean, look at this. This is $97.50. And look, we almost drove 100 miles on this route. So you need to be aware of that. When you take these 5-hour routes, you could be sent 40 to 50 miles out. It's very common. I've done like 16,000 total deliveries at this point. It's probably close to 20 by now. And there's so many people out there that can also relate and let you know as well from their experience. Sometimes you get lucky, you get the best routes, you're on a hot streak for months at a time, but then you end up with bad months as well, where they're just sending you out to the middle of nowhere. Your car is also getting wrecked from the rocks. You also have to be careful because you don't want to pop a tire in the middle of nowhere. It's very common. These things happen when you're driving that much. My favorite thing about delivering with Amazon, though, is that it's so mindless, and I mean that in the best way possible. Everything is just simple. You load up at the station, you put the packages in your car, you don't have to talk to anybody. You're not worried about waiting on the next order or getting a better order or doing something in the moment to keep going from hour to hour. You sign up and you commit for a block, and then you're just doing the block until the block is done, until you deliver the last package. And you end up making a lot of times over $100 for a route. Now, that's granted depending on your region and making sure. I'll always encourage people to take the higher hour blocks, like 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 5 hours. I think they end up paying the best on those routes. The reason why I end up taking these afternoon routes is because this is the only things they have. They don't have any of the 4-hour routes at the 7 o'clock time either. Otherwise, I would do those. I think that regardless of how many packages you end up getting, that it just makes more sense on paper, especially with the amount of times and the amount of miles you end up driving on these routes. You have to be so careful because they rack up so quickly. As of right now, though, the rates have been the lowest I have ever seen them. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get any better. And that's the reason why as well, I just won't go out in those early morning times. Because that, for one, you should be getting paid really well to do those 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the mornings. And I tell everybody that. They're the best routes to do. There's no traffic. They're simple. You're not talking to anybody. You just drop it at the door and move on to the next one. And you can get up. Most of those routes in the morning, you can get done in like 2 hours, I want to say. Maybe 2.5 hours. That's a 4.5-hour route. That's a 5-hour route. That's a 3.5-hour route too. That's the reason why you always want to take those higher hour ones, because you end up finishing in the same amount of time on a 3.5-hour one as you do on a 5-hour one. The only difference between them 90% of the time is the pay. We have finally finished this route. It is currently 8:54. It's saying, how was this route? It was very difficult. Why was it difficult? High mileage. Sadly, we are 37 minutes away from home, 30 miles out as well. So far for this route as well, we have drove 64 miles. With the 30 miles to get home, we're going to be at around 94 miles total for this route. Sub-same day stations are super unpredictable though. This is also the reason why people like the .com station. I think I'm going to go back to a .com station because I'm going to try it out again. The sub-same day station hasn't been paying. They're very unpredictable where they send you. You could get sent anywhere within like 50 miles, I was told. So please keep that in mind. I love doing Amazon. It's one of the best gig apps I've ever done. I just wish that they would pay better, and I wish people would stop taking the rates so low because it doesn't make sense. Unless you're not paying taxes and just evading everything, you have a free gas card or something that I need to sign up for. I don't know how people are taking these rates of $70 for a 3-hour route. The biggest thing I want to say to you guys is just because that's the highest rate in your area doesn't mean it's worth it. Just because they're maxing at $117 for 4.5 hours, that doesn't mean I'm taking it. It's way better to do other apps. It doesn't make sense for the amount of miles that they're doing and the amount of time it takes up in your day. When you break it down, it doesn't make any sense, and I can't justify that. For the content, absolutely. Here's what an Amazon Flex route looks like. Here's what you need to do. I know I need to make more of those videos to show you guys, to give you better tips. And please, if you guys have any advice for me, anything that you do want to see, let me know down in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys so much for just supporting me in general. To the next route.